So some of what we're doing today should be a review. Some of it should be new, but it's fairly light topic, okay? We're talking about angles. An angle is formed by the intersection of two what? Two what? Lines, okay? So the intersection of two lines, okay? The point at which these two lines intersect is called the what of this angle? Starts with a V. The vertex, okay? An angle that measures 180 degrees, what does it look like? A line. So it looks like a straight line. We call that a straight angle. Easy one. Then the angle that measures 90 degrees is what kind of angle? Right angle. An angle this measure is between 0 and 90 is what kind of angle? Acute. Okay. An angle between 90 and 100 is measured, we call that a what? Obtuse. Some of the guys last year thought it was an obese angle, but we're going to go with obtuse. Yeah, so anyway, I don't know where that came from. I don't know who it was. I'm not going to name names. So you're asking me to throw those guys under the bus. Two positive angles that add to 90. We call those angles what? They're two positive angles, and when you add them, you get 90. Complementary. You guys need to listen to Sierra back there today. I know my hearing is bad, but you're going to have to say it louder if you want credit. Okay. Two positive angles that add to 180 are what? Supplementary angles. Is she copying you again? So supplementary angles. Okay, that's all sort of the warm-up. An angle is said to be in standard position if its initial side coincides with the x-axis, okay? So when we draw an angle, we have an initial side. This is going to be our initial side. So that is my initial side, okay? So it's in standard position if that's the initial side of my angle. And then if I draw, this will be my terminal side. So that angle is in standard position, you know. Now notice you could draw angles, you know, like this or like this. These angles are not in standard position. So standard position, one side is here on the x-axis, and then you have another side called the terminal side. Okay. Now, when we look at this, this divides up into 4 quadrants. You know how we number them. This is quadrant what? This is number 1. This one is 2. There you go. This is 3. And this is 4. Okay. Yeah, it's always 1, 2, 3, 4 in that direction. Okay. Now, if you don't like the Roman numerals, you can just call this quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Okay. Now, this is where it probably starts to get something you haven't seen before. Angles can be positive or negative. Okay. Sierra sounds heartbroken. Okay. This is pretty simple. So if we start with the terminal, if we start here with our initial side, if we go counterclockwise, that's a positive angle. Okay, so positive angles are measured counterclockwise. And then angles that are measured clockwise would be what? Call those negative angles, okay? So let's do an example of a positive angle here. This is my initial side right here, okay? So if I were to go in this direction over to here, okay, that is a positive angle. So let's just say, for example, let's call that a 135 degrees, okay? That is a positive angle, okay? Because this is 0, this is 90, this is 180. So if I went halfway in between 90 and 180, that's 135. So that's a positive angle, 135. Now, let's draw a negative angle. Let's draw negative 45 degrees, okay? So that would mean I start right here, okay? But instead of going counterclockwise, I will go what? Instead of going counterclockwise, I will go clockwise, okay? I tried to even set that one up, okay? So I go in this direction. So this is negative 45 degrees. Okay, so that's it. So if you're going clockwise, those are negative degree measures. Counterclockwise, those are positive degree measures. Okay, so let's just look, for example, what would be a negative angle that starts here and ends in this same spot? Okay, so let's figure that out. So this is 0. That's negative 90 right there. Okay, this is negative what? 180. And so if this is 135, what's the distance from here to here? What's the distance between 135 and 180? 45. So to go negative, I'd go negative 90, negative 180, and then if I add 45 to that, that's what? Yeah, so this angle from here to here is negative 225 degrees. Okay. So 135 degrees is this angle, negative 225 is this other angle here, and they have the same terminal side. Okay. What is a positive angle that ends right here? Okay. So if this is negative 45, this is 0, 90, 180, 270. And then how much further do I have to go after 270? Another 45. So this is 315 degrees. So 315 degrees and negative 45 degrees have the same terminal side. Okay. They're not the same angle, but they end on the same side. Okay. Now some people ask, like, why do angles measure 360 and 520? Why do they go that high? We think of things like a wheel that's rotating. Okay, so every time it rotates, that's a 360 degree angle. So, so in terms of those revolutions. So let's keep moving on. Let's draw a few angles. Okay, so a 45 degree angle. All of the angles you're going to draw from here on out are going to start at 0. So where is 45 degrees? Which way do I go? Counterclockwise. So that is a 45 degree angle. And what quadrant is the terminal side? Quadrant 1. Okay. So that ends in quadrant 1. Okay. 405 degrees. Okay. What is one revolution? Going around one time is how many degrees? 360. Okay. So if I'm measuring 405, 90, 180, 270, that's 360. Okay. How much further do I have to go? Okay. So what is 405 minus 360? That's 45. So that means after I get to 360, I have to do what? How much further do I have to go? 45 more. So this angle starts here, and it goes all the way around to there. So that is 405 degrees. Yeah, it is helpful. That way I know that you went all the way around to do a revolution. Okay. So 405 degrees. In what quadrant is the terminal side? Quadrant 1. Okay. What is the angle? What is the angle from here to here? What is that angle? 45. Yeah. So you're going to need to get comfortable with, like, okay, you drew a 405 degrees. That's a 45 degree angle between the x-axis and there. The reason we do this is because later, if I need to ask you to find the sine of 405 degrees, really it's going to be the same as the sine of 45 degrees. So that's why we break these things down. And we'll do more of that later. Right now, I just want you to get comfortable with drawing these. Negative 315 degrees. So I start right here, okay? That's my initial side. And then which direction am I going? I'm going to be going clockwise. So this is negative 90. That's negative 180. Negative 270, okay? And then how much further do I have to go? 45 more after that. So I start here, and this angle ends right there. So that's negative 315 degrees. What quadrant is the terminal side? Quadrant 1. Okay. 765 degrees. Okay. So remember, what's 1 revolution is how many degrees? Yeah. We didn't even have money on it today. Did you forget it was the Friday before spring break and you came by accident? Or? Okay. Okay. If 360 degrees is 1 revolution, how much would 2 revolutions be? Yeah. So this is that's 1 revolution. 720 would be 2 revolutions. Okay. So what this angle means is I start right here, I make 1 revolution, I make another revolution, and then how much further after 720 do I need to go? 45 more. Okay. So that angle ends right here. So that is 765 degrees. That ends in quadrant 1. Okay. I don't think you've seen this before. Is that right? So, some of this you have. Just make sure you know complementary and supplementary. If I've got a 45 degree angle, what is the complementary angle? Yeah, 45 because that adds to 90. What's the supplementary angle? Yeah, 135 because that adds to 180. 92, is there a positive angle that I can add to it to get 90? No, there is no complementary angle. What is the supplementary angle? 88 because that adds to 180. 125, there is no complementary angle. The supplementary angle, what do I add to get to 180? What, 75? Pardon me? Oh, sorry. No, it's not 75. Bad math. 55. Right? You add 55 and 125, and that gives you 180. 14, what's the complementary angle? Yeah, 76. And the supplementary angle, 166. Okay. Supplementary, they add to 180. 135, there is no complementary. What's the supplementary angle? Yeah, 45. 90 degrees, what is the complementary angle? 0. And the supplementary angle is 90. So let's draw a few more angles. Some of these I think we have done. So 45 degrees, just to get comfortable with it, you should know that that angle goes right here, okay? That's 45 degrees. I often will not draw the initial side. I mean, it's just understood that's where it is, okay? So that's a 45 degree angle ending in quadrant 1. 405, okay, so 405, remember if I make 1 revolution, that's what? 360, and then I need to go how much further? 45 more, okay, so that is my 405 degree angle ending in quadrant 1. Negative 135, okay? That means I start at 0, but which direction do I go? I go clockwise. So this is negative 90. That's negative 180. So negative 135 is going to be in between those two spots, okay? So if I go negative 90, how much further after 90 do I go to get to 135? 45. So this angle goes sort of halfway there. So that's a negative 135 degrees. What quadrant does that terminal side lie in? Quadrant 3. Negative 210. So I start with 0. That's negative 90, negative 180. So how much further do I have to go to get to 210? Yeah, 30 more degrees. So this one goes sort of like this. So that's negative 210 degrees. Terminal side is in what quadrant? Yeah, quadrant 2. Negative 330. Okay, what's a full revolution? 360. So this is almost a full revolution. So negative 330 starts over here, and how much shy of a full revolution is it? It's 30 degrees shy of a full revolution. So something like this. So that's negative 330. If that's negative 330, what is the angle from here to here? This is what? That's 30, okay? Because that would make it a total revolution of 360. So this final side is in what quadrant? Quadrant 1. 750 degrees. So what do you know about 750? Yeah, so 2 revolutions is 720. So it's going to go 1 time, 2 times, that's 720, and I have to go 30 more. Okay. So that's 750 degrees, and it ends in quadrant 1. So the last thing we want to do, I'm going to continue to draw angles, but what I want to do is for every angle I draw, I want to figure out an angle that is coterminal. Coterminal means it has the same terminal side. So I want to figure out an angle between 0 and 360 that's coterminal with the one that I draw. Okay, so we're going to draw 520. So 360 is 1 revolution, right? So 360. What's 360 plus 90? 450, okay? 450 plus 90 is 540, so it's going to be before I get there, okay? So 520 is going to be 1 complete revolution, and then I go to 450, and then I go about 20 degrees shy of that. So that is my 520 degree angle. Now, to find an angle that is coterminal between 0 and 360, what I want to figure out is what is the angle from here to here. If I were to start to 0 and get to this same side, where would I be? Okay. So if this is 520 and this is 540, what's this right here? This is 20. Okay. So what angle starts here and is 20 degrees shy of being 180? Yeah, 160. So this is coterminal with 160. So 160 is coterminal. All that means is it has the same terminal side. So if you draw a 160 degree angle, that's this line right here. If you draw 520, that's what? 1 revolution and still back to that same line. Now I can draw any number of coterminal. I can take, this is 520. If I add 360, where will I be? If I start here and add 360, where will I end up? Same spot, okay? If I'm at this line, I add 360, I'm in the same spot. Add 360 again. So there are any number of coterminals, okay? I'm just looking for the coterminal angle between 0 and 360 that matches the one that I drew. Okay, 440. So 440 is more than a revolution, right? So that means I go all the way around, that's 360. So if this is 360, what's 360 plus 90? That's 450. So 440 is going to be where? Yeah, 10 degrees less of that line. So this is that's my 440 degree angle, okay? So what is this angle, the little angle from here to here? That's 10, okay? Now to find the angle between 0 and 360 that looks just like this angle, I'm asking myself, what is this angle from here to here? That is 80. So this is coterminal with an 80-degree angle. Okay? Does everyone see that? Now I feel like this is an easy topic. Is this okay? I think Mason is saying more than I've ever heard him say in class. He's usually quiet. We appreciate it back there. Maybe having one leg rolled up helps. I don't know. So I'll pause for a minute. Negative 275 degrees. Okay. So if in a negative direction, this is negative 90. That's negative 180. That's negative 270. How much further do I have to go? Just 5 degrees further. Okay, so the negative 275 is this angle right here. So if that's negative 275, what is this angle right here, the small angle? That's 5 degrees. To find an angle that's coterminal between 0 and 360, I'm saying, what is that angle right there? Because that's going to end in the same spot. That angle is what? Yeah, 85 degrees. Okay. So 400 degrees. So 360 is one revolution. How much further do I have to go? Yeah, so I come around here and I just go 40 degrees further. So that is 400 degrees. So what angle is coterminal with 400? Like what is this angle from here to here? That's what? 40. So 40 degrees. So a 400 degree angle and a 40 degree angle are going to have the same properties. That's why we're doing this, okay? So if you ever needed to find the cosine of 400, that's going to be the same as the cosine of 40. That's what we're going to get to, okay? We just need to be comfortable with where these angles are. 720, where is that angle? That's just 2 revolutions. That's this angle right here. So that's 720 degrees. What angle between 0 and 360 has that same terminal side? Yeah, well, 0 or 360, either one of those. Okay. So a 720 angle is the same as a 0 degree angle or a 360 degree angle. 235. So I know that if I go 90, 180, it's going to be somewhere down here. So 235 is how much further? 55 degrees further, okay? So this angle is 55 degrees, okay? So to find an angle that's coterminal between 0 and 365, the only one is, it's 235, okay? The only angle between 0 and 360 that ends right there is 235. I could add 360 to it and get another angle, but the only one that's coterminal between 0 and 360 is 235, okay? Now, if I went to negative angles, I could find the negative angle that ends here as well, okay? But between 0 and 360 for a 235 degree angle, only a 235 degree angle ends in that same spot. And 2 more and then we're done, okay? 135 degrees, what quadrant is that going to be in? Quadrant 2, so that's just going to be the angle right here. That's 135 degrees. What is the angle? What's the angle from here to here? 45, okay. But the angle that's coterminal, what angle between 0 and 360 is? It's just 135. That's the only angle between 0 and 360 that ends right here, okay? I could find a negative angle that ends there, or I could add 360 to this and have it something in there. But that's the only coterminal between 0 and 360. Negative 45 degrees puts me where? Right here. Okay, so that is negative 45 degrees. To find an angle between 0 and 360 that looks just like that, I need an angle that starts here and ends here. So that's the angle, that's 360 minus 45, which is 315 degrees, okay? So it's coterminal with 315 degrees. So a negative 45-degree angle and a 350-degree angle have the same terminal side. Okay, so that is it. So you can take a look at the homework for that section. And